Welcome back to Garden Talk, brought to you by the Penn State Erie County Extension Master Gardeners. I'm your co-host for today, Mike Bailey, along with Ellen DePlacido. Ellen, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
Hey, what are we going to talk about today?
Oh, one of our favorite Japanese beetles.
Everybody's favorite, okay?
Yes,
And that kind of
yes.
reminds me of something that we did last year where we, you know, started off one of the sessions last year with a comment of, do you really want to try to control Japanese beetles? Okay. And then in our last session of, last week, we closed with the statement, if you bought one of those Japanese beetle traps, don't open it just yet, okay? Because you
hmm
may want to re-gift it. And what we're going to try to do over the next few sessions is kind of explain some of those comments a little bit.
Mike, that's kind of a dirty trick to regift it.
Well, it kind of serves a purpose, okay? But
Okay.
let's divide this whole kind of control section into two things. Let's talk about control of the larvae or the grubs, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll talk
Uh-huh.
about control of the adult beetle itself. But in this session, let's do the eggs in the larvae or the grubs as people call them first.
Okay.
So
Okay.
where are we going to start with that, Ellen?
Well, I think we need to start letting people know that controlling the larvae and the grubs in your lawn really has very little impact on the number of adult Japanese beetles that you're going to see in your yard because beetles fly long distances, they're very mobile. So if you're doing it to cut down on the damage the grubs are doing in your lawn, that's a different story. And you can make a difference by doing that. So treat the grubs to protect your lawns. Um, Part of the life cycle, remember, eggs are deposited in the soil. And I thought this was interesting by females. I don't know who else would deposit eggs, but they're deposited in the soil. About 1 to 5 eggs at a time, about 2 inches deep. And then that female will make repeated trips over a 6 weeks period, and she's eventually going to deposit about 40 to 60 eggs. Now, these eggs hatch in like 8 to 10 days, and the larvae begin to feed on roots of plants. Those plants are mostly grasses. Okay, so that's why you probably see some damage. Then, as cool weather approaches, they burrow down about 8 inches because they're going to spend the winter under the ground. And then as the soil warms in the spring again, they come back to the surface to feed, pupate, and then reappear as adults in late June or July, early July. So we're
Okay.
coming up to that period.
Okay,
hmm
and that's all wonderful, and I like your comment about the
hmm
females doing all the work. I mean, the
And
guys,
yes, they do.
somebody's got to be out there eating the fermented fruit. Okay,
Right.
but what are some of the things that are going to hamper this whole process? Okay,
One of them is dry weather. Um, During the egg laying and egg hatch, they that eliminates a lot of those small grubs because they don't develop under dry conditions. And I know this is very hard to convince people, but try not to water your lawn during July and August because that's when the eggs are being laid and trying to hatch. And another idea is to use larger, higher plants in your lawn that have large root systems because they're less susceptible to the damage done by grubs. So your bigger plants are better if you can do that.
well, mow high is what they tell you.
Yeah.
Don't scrape it down to
Mm-hmm.
a half inch tall grass. Keep it up.
Right.
Keep that mower blade up 4 inches, okay, and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Your lawn will look nicer. Also, it'll stay nice and green.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
kind of
but
sad when you see these
yes,
riding lawnmowers going over the same path over and over again because the way they turn, and I'm thinking, oh, your grass is so low.
yes. But as far as treatments are concerned, there are some
hmm
biologicals, and there's the nematodes, which are really kind of you have to have a specific genus and species of these nematodes, and then they have to be applied according to direction.
hmm
Well, real precisely according to direction. And, but they will have an impact on the small grubs under good conditions. Okay, and
hmm
you can actually establish a population of those nematodes in your soil, and they will continue to work year after year. And nematodes are really kind of a microscopic worm, for all practical purposes. The other thing is that'll help is BT, but it's got to be a
Mm-hmm.
specific variety of BT, Galleria. Okay, and
Right.
it can be applied to the for grub control when the grubs are small. And this this product is sold, I know, by one place, Gardens Alive, and it's called Grub Gone, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
but then there's Milky Spore that's also advertised, and it's important to remember that again, something that you have to be very careful about with the application. And then it doesn't have an impact right away. It's got to take a year or two, and even the
Mm-hmm.
literature talks about it probably doesn't. The impact is minimal.
Right.
It talks about a 5 to 20% effectiveness. So do you
Mm-hmm.
want to go through all that expense and all that effort for that? Okay. And then when you get down to chemical controls, it's divided into two sections: preventive and rescue. Preventive focuses on the young grubs. And these compounds need to be applied just before the eggs hatch in late June to mid July in our particular area. And those products, okay, are contain an active ingredient, and I have three different active ingredients listed here. One
Okay.
is imidacloprid, and it's there.
That's why I
There's
let you do this
yeah,
part.
well, and let me just spell it real quick. IMIDACLOPRID, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's uh, chlorthanoprol. Okay, and that's a Scots product, and it's called Grubex. Okay, I do know that,
Mm-hmm.
and that is spelled CHLORANTRANIPROLE. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's a product that I don't believe is available to the public, but it's called Arena, and it needs to be applied by people with a special application license. That's
Mm-hmm.
chlorthanidin. Okay, so, and I'm not
Okay.
sure that you're going to be able to find that. Then there's the rescue products, which are used on larger grubs. Two particular items: trichlorophon, okay, which is this Bayer advanced 24-hour grub kill plus granules, and then there's
Mm-hmm.
the um, Carbaryl, which is the 7, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
7 lawn insect granule. Both of these products will attack, okay, the grubs at a younger stage, but they do not
Mm-hmm.
work on the older ones. They're so very difficult to kill the older grubs. So, Ellen, it looks like we're done with our time today, and we're going to tell you how
Okay.
you can hear these, go back and review these programs again when in later this in the next
Yes.
program. Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in a hurry.
All
Bye
right.
bye.
Bye.